everyone, it's your boy KP with Let's Talk Movies, and today I'm bringing you the whole season recap of AMC's Interview with the Vampire. Today we are going to sit down, we're going to break down the characters, we are going to break down everything that transpired in this whole season 1 and possibly talk about what I think is going to also happen in season 2. So guys, I want us to start off this video by looking at the way Lestat turned Louis into a vampire. In the first place, like I already said in one of my videos, I feel like Lestat took advantage of Louis. That is how I feel about the whole point, because if we look at it, there was so much going on in Louis' life that it was not the right time, and Lestat made a mistake by turning Louis into a vampire. That is why Louis, down the line, began to really hate Lestat. Right? Lestat should have given Louis some time for Louis to, process everything, for Louis to know that, okay, fine, you, this guy, I really love you, and then I want to spend the rest of my life with you as a vampire. That is what I feel it should have happened, right? Because looking at the time that Lestat turned Louis into a vampire, I don't really think Louis was even like in love with Lestat. I mean, with all the whole season, we were able to understand Louis never even really said I love you to Lestat, right? But I feel like, to me, I feel like it was too early in their relationship for Lestat to be making that kind of like huge decision for Louis, right? The attraction was there. Not gonna lie, the attraction was there, but it wasn't to the point where someone would say, okay, I want to be able to spend like 200, 300, 400 years with you because I love you, right? It was not the right time. Lestat should have possibly given Louis some masterclass on vampire, how to be a vampire. Let Louis know that, okay, this is something that I really want. I really like you, my guy, and I really want to spend my time with you. I don't care whether all my family are going to be there and I'm going to be an immortal being, right? If Lestat has given Louis some time for Louis to really know what he was getting himself into, I feel like Louis would have genuinely really loved Lestat back the way Lestat wanted Louis to love him. Right? Because like Paul has died. Miss Lily was not there anymore. His mom was already, blaming him for Paul's death, his brother's death. Right? So genuinely, I know Lestat was really in love with Louis, but it was not the right time. It was really not the right time, right? Lestat should have probably waited, but as we know, Lestat, he's a control freak. He's very possessive. He saw Louis, and then he really was like, okay, my guy, I'm going to turn you into a vampire, and I'm going to make you my companion, which was a very wrong move of Lestat. He shouldn't have done that. And then at the end of the season, he paid for it. He shouldn't have really done that. The right move was wait for Louis to heal, wait for Louis to really genuinely love him back. Then he will reveal to Louis that, okay, my man, this is me. I'm a vampire. I love you. This is me. I'm like probably 200 years old, and I really want to turn you into my companion. I really want to spend the rest of my life with you. Being a vampire, you're going to suck blood. The sun is going to be a problem with you. All your family members are going to grow old, and you're still going to be the same person that you were. I feel like that should have been the way that Lestat should have approached this whole situation. But Lestat didn't do that, and then he paid for it, which made us really understand why Louis really didn't love Lestat back. Because when we looked at the whole season, after his brother's death, his mother and everything, and then Louis was beginning to get into grasp with it being a vampire, we could tell how much Louis really despised himself for being a vampire. We all could tell. Louis didn't like being a vampire. Let's look at when he didn't want to drink human blood. Right? It was not something that he was ready for. Louis didn't like being a vampire, and then all the effects that being a vampire comes with. Yes, he enjoyed some of the benefits of it, but deep down, if Louis could go back in time, for me, I feel like Louis would have gone back in time and probably would have told Lestat to not turn him into a vampire, because Louis regretted Lestat turning him into a vampire, which also made him even despise him more. Right? And also looking at when he was even coming in terms with himself being a vampire, right? That is probably around like maybe episode 4 or 5, and then they decided to bring Claudia in. It was the wrong move for the both of them because they were going through a lot of like marital problems that at that time, to me, I feel like it wasn't the right time to be bringing in Claudia. It was not the right time. They probably should have waited, spent a lot of time with each other. That's one thing with these vampires. They are very impulsive. They make really, really hasty decisions that sometimes you look at them like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, you have so much time. You are an immortal. Why are you in such a hurry to be making so many hasty decisions? It's like they started dating while they were together for like 7 years, and then they bring Claudia in. Bringing in a child is not what is going to solve your marital problems. That is the mistake that we humans always make. When you are going through problems with your relationship, you guys need to focus solely on you and try to resolve it and try to, build the love back and make sure that you are all on the same page as you guys used to be. But these people didn't do that. And then they decided to bring Claudia into their relationship. They decided to bring in a child, which was the most dumbest thing to ever do. It was so dumb because like at the end of the day, we all saw what happened. To me, I feel like maybe they should have probably been living together for 50 to almost 100 years before they decide to bring in a child. I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, 50 years is too much. But like looking at their relationship, and then the timing, I always say this, I think for them, the problem is they have very, very bad timing, right? The time that they decided to turn Claudia into a vampire, if you look at the timing, it was so wrong because their relationship was like in a very rocky situation. Like the two of them couldn't even stand each other. There was a lot of fighting going on. Louis was going through a whole lot of like things with his business. His mama was like doing things with him. His sister was saying this and that, right? It was the same thing as when Lester turned Louis into a vampire. They don't take their time. And then someone is going to be like, okay, well then when is it going to be the right time, right? To me, the right time would have been probably maybe they should have spent like maybe 30, 40 years together and genuinely build love for themselves. Looking at how Lestat turned Louis into a vampire, Louis genuinely didn't love Lestat. Then they decided to bring a child into their relationship. At that time too, love was not really prevailing in their relationship. They were going through a lot of fights. They were going through a lot of problems. Louis' business was like in shambles. Like there was a lot going on with Louis. It's like every time that something happens with Louis, Lestat makes a hasty decision. And I know it was Louis' idea that Lestat should turn Claudia into a vampire. But they should have waited it out. They should have really waited it out because like the timing was so bad that I know everyone in the comment section is going to agree on me with this one. The timing with Claudia was so bad. It was so bad that I just even couldn't stand the two of them. Right. Now, let's also look at Claudia coming into their life, right? When Claudia came into their lives, honestly, I didn't like her. I didn't really like Claudia because I felt like there was a lot of honeymoon season that should have happened between the two of them. And then Claudia came to end everything, right? Because I wanted more love and then more, like happiness from Louis and Lestat. That would have made Claudia coming into the picture like genuinely me watching it like her, right? When she came, I didn't really like Claudia because like I felt like she was so childish. She was not listening to them. She was so disobedient. She was like doing everything that was making me really not like her. So I mean, when the whole season started, when Claudia came in, I'm gonna say I didn't really like her. I didn't really like her. But down the line too, I also got to understand why Claudia was also going through what she was also going through. Right? She was going through a lot, which also made me to also begin to also sympathize with Claudia. Because I don't know how it feels like. Like, even I can't even remember my life of being like, 16 years old, like the things that went on and being stuck at myself for being 16 years old. That would suck. That would really be terrible. Where you are going to be stuck like an adult being stuck in a 16-year-old's body. That is like, for me, that is like a whole lot of torture with Claudia, right? She was going through a lot. Like that torture that she was going through was too much to deal with. It was very too much to deal with. And then we could also tell how, because the two of them was not prepared to be parents, and then they didn't really prepare themselves for this one, they also handled it so poorly. They raised Claudia so poorly. And then Louis too was messing everything up. Claudia coming into the picture, he turned all his love and affection to Claudia, which also brought down the ugly side of Lestat, right? And I don't condone abuse, but for real, I really stand on my point on this one. Louis was in the fault on this one, right? I'm not condoning the abuse, but like if you are in a relationship with someone, if you are really in a relationship with someone and then they don't give you attention, all that they do is nag, you're gonna get to a point where you are like, fuck this shit, like I can't do this anymore. Like, what the fuck? How long am I gonna sit here and wait for you to love me back? Right? So if we look at it from the perspective of Lestat, Louis is in the wrong. I'm not condoning abuse. I'm not saying Lestat abusing Louis is right. I'm not condoning violence, but let's look at it from the point of loving someone, right? Being genuinely in love with someone, being with them for 20, 23, 25 years, and then you've not even heard them say, I love you to you. Say, I love you to you. That is heartbreaking. That is a lot to deal with. That is really a lot to deal with. And I don't blame Lestat for snapping. I don't blame him at all. Like, I don't blame him at all. Maybe, yes, he took it to the extreme because abuse was not the right solution. Maybe Lestat should have probably packed his bag and be like, okay, boy, I've stayed with you. I've waited for you to love me, but it looks like you are not going to love me the way I want you to love me. So, right, I'm packing my bags and I'm going. That should have probably been the most gentlest and then the most nicest way to end things. But you know our own Lestat, he's crazy. He is crazy, and then he would take everything to the extreme. And then he abused Louis. And for real, like looking at the aftermath of it too, it was like a lot to deal with because like the Louis that I knew from episode 1 and 2, the guy that was a pimp, that would even pull a knife on his own brother, seeing him so broken, I was like, nah, let's start. Okay, now I think you took this whole I'm in love with you and then I'm retaliating. If you don't love me, I'm going to do this shit too much. You abusing to the extreme that I feel like, okay, now, bro, it was also too much. And that is right because like from like episode 5 to like 7, after the whole beating thing that went down, Louis was completely broken. Louis was completely broken. And then for me, I also feel like it was also that point. I don't know. Like, I want you guys to comment on the comment section this point. At this point, I also feel like after the whole beating thing too, that was when Louis also realized how much he really loved Lestat. Like, what do you guys think about that? Because like after the whole fight scene with them, Louis really was able to know how much he really loved Lestat. Because like from there, I began to actually see that Louis genuinely was falling for Lestat. Because at that moment when he knew he was losing him, that was when also like he was actually realizing how much he really loved Lestat. Like, was I the only one that thought about this? Like, I want you guys to comment in the comments because like that's how I feel. I forgot, I think it's like episode 4 or 5, like after the whole beating thing and then he started healing. Right? Like it was then that for me, I saw that Louis, that was when he was really falling in love with Lestat. He was like genuinely falling in love with him. Because everything that he was doing could make me see that I feel like, Louis wants Lestat back. Right? And then also, like I also say, the timing is always wrong with these people. The time that Louis was genuinely beginning to fall in love with Lestat, it was also the time that he was also planning to kill Lestat. So it's like, What is wrong with these people? Like, maybe you could have killed him when you didn't really love him. Now that you are genuinely having feelings for this man, genuinely like wanting him in your life, genuinely seeing the impact of him in your life, it is also that time that Claudia is like, nope, let's kill him. He's not good for you. Let's kill him. He's not good for you. Let's get rid of him. Now I'm like, oh my God, these people need therapy. Like all three of them needs therapy, because it's like they have a very bad timing. They have a very bad timing, because like, what the fuck? I feel like maybe, I don't know, Lester should have probably let Claudia take the train and go. But like they said, at the end of the day, Lester wouldn't have known. Because I feel like Louis was genuinely falling in love with Lester. He was genuinely beginning to love Lester. Although Louis was broken, like I don't want to even see that. Like he was so broken. But I also saw that his brokenness was also from him now really genuinely falling for Lester. And it also made it worse for Claudia, because then at the end of the day, Claudia was also have to go pay for it, in the sense that Claudia wants to kill Lester. Louis is falling in love with Lester. Now Claudia needs Louis' help to kill Lester. So it's like they're in like a web that is so bad that it was also very smart of Claudia not to include Louis in her plans, because like it makes sense, because she could see how much Louis was like genuinely in love with Lester. She could see it. She could really see it, and it was very smart of her not to include Louis in her plans, because it would have made everything like very, 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 very worse for her. And I know that this season 2, Claudia is going to pretty much pay for it for the plans that she did, and then for causing Louis to do what he did to Lester. Right? So like right now, I'm beginning to understand why Louis couldn't kill Lester in the end. Because like after everything went down, and then it got to the last instant, the last action that Louis was supposed to do, which was get rid of Lester. It was also at that moment that for me, I feel like his love for Lester was also at its peak. Was really at its peak. Like at first, I thought that he was being in love with his abuse, and then that's also a factor. But also, like I also feel like he was like genuinely at that point too, like really, really, really in love with Lester. That is why he couldn't go on at the end with killing Lester. He couldn't do it, because this is someone that he really loved, and I think he has secretly been in love with him for like 66, almost 70 years. And then now he's getting to the point of really seeing how much he loves Lester. Right? And then he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it because it was too painful for him to bear. Like that whole scene was so sad and so painful to bear, because no one can like genuinely say, I love someone, and then it was also at that point that you are killing them. It's a lot for someone to deal with at a moment. He was so broken, but he was also so in love, and he too has to make a decision that was not the right way. Like I always say, bad timing with these people. I feel like maybe Louis should have probably maybe communicated with Claudia and be like, okay, let's give Lester some time and see how it goes. That's how for me, I feel like maybe Louis should have done. Right? Or maybe he should have found a way to let Claudia run away again. That would have solved the situation. Right? He shouldn't have probably let them go on with the plan of killing Lester. He shouldn't have done that. Right? Because at the end of the day, for me in season 2, I feel like Claudia is going to pay for it. He's going to genuinely pay for it. Lester is going to find Claudia, and Lester is going to whoop Claudia's ass. That one, I'm really waiting for it. And I really hope in season 2 when it comes, I know you guys are going to point it out and be like, oh, yep, you said it. You definitely said it. Lester is going to give it to Claudia. Lester is not going to do anything to Louis. I know for a fact. Lester is not going to do anything to Louis. Because even Louis not killing Lester makes Lestat also begin to see how much Louis now genuinely loves him. So if Louis now genuinely loves him, it's like he has gotten the answer that he wants of how much Louis loves him. So if now he has gotten it, then the best action will be, okay, then let's get rid of Claudia. Because in episode 7, we could see how much he was willing and he was ready to get rid of Claudia. He was like, no, girl, you gotta go. I can replace you with Antoinette. You gotta go. Right? Lestat has gotten the answer that he wants, and then Claudia is going to pay for it. And I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that it wouldn't be as brutal as he did to Louis in season 1. Right? Now, also coming back to the whole Armand situation, like, right? I don't even know what to say on that. Right? I don't even know what to say because, like, on one end, I'm behaving like a jealous boyfriend because I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? Oh, he's the love of my life. Boy, get out of here. Like, who is that man? Like, get out. Like, I don't even have a lot of things to say about him because, like, I don't want to ship the whole relationship because I don't even want to like it. I don't want to like it. Like, I don't even want to see Louis falling in love with someone else. What I want to see is I want to see Louis with Lestat. That is what I want to see. Who is Armand? Armand, get out of here. We don't want to see you. We don't want to see you. So like when he said, oh, this is Vampire Armand, the love of my life. I'm like, boy, get out of here. We don't want to deal with it. It's like, get out, get out, get out of here. We have Lestat there. You're going to be talking about, oh, I want to admire the love of my life, Armand. Where did Armand come in the picture? When did Armand come to the picture that you're going to be like, oh, he's the love of my life? Like, I think I probably have to do a whole video on that one because, like, I don't want to ship it. I don't even want to see how their whole relationship came to fruition in season 2 because maybe I may begin to love them. So now I'm like, nah, I don't want to see that. All that I want is I want Louis and Lestat. Keep that up for me. That's it. I don't want any Armand storyline. I don't want to see Louis falling in love with someone because now it's like I'm beginning to even fight for Lestat. Oh my God. Lestat is having a toll on all of us. I'm beginning to fight for him. This guy is an abuser. And instead of me wishing for a genuine, healthy relationship for Louis, look at me sitting here fighting for him like he's a good person. He's not even good for Louis. But at the same time, I don't ship the whole Louis and Armand thing. Like, no. AMC, cut that one off. Like, we don't even want to see it. Get rid of it quickly. Get rid of it quickly. We don't want to see it. Who is Armand? When did he even come to the picture? All that we want to see is Louis and Lestat. Period. That is all that we want to see. And I really want to see that in season 2. Armand, get out of here. Go be his butler. I don't know if he was like what, a butler, a maid, whatever that he wants, a secretary or assistant or whatever. He should go back doing that. That is all that he should be. That is all that he should be. We are not ready for the whole Louis and Armand thing. No, it doesn't even go together. Louis, Armand. It doesn't go. It's Louis and Lestat. That is all that we want to see. That is all that we want. We don't want any Louis and Armand thing. Like, Louis, bro, I'm going to knock some sense into your head. Like, what the fuck? What is the love of my life? We don't want to see that. Get rid of that man. He's your assistant. That is all that we want to see. Right? The whole situation where AMC is bringing in the Armand thingy, I don't ship it. I don't want to see it. And I know a lot of you guys don't even want to see it. But I mean, let's all wait and see what is going to happen in season 2. We just have to keep our fingers crossed. And then hopefully, we see what Lestat does to Claudia. Because I feel like Lestat is going to give it to Claudia. I don't want to see the whole Louis and Armand thing. I don't ship it. I don't want to see it. Right? So this brings us to the end of this video. I want you guys to comment in the comment section below. And then let's talk about the whole season in the whole, right? Because I know there's a lot for us to talk about. And I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate everyone for commenting in all the videos that I've been posting. I know it's a lot. And I know especially this video is going to be very long. Because like I've been ranting a lot for almost like, well, I don't know, 1 hour now. But I really hope I will be able to bring it down to maybe at least 20 minutes, Fingers crossed. I hope I will see you guys in the comment section. I will also be doing single videos on each of every of the characters that we will be watching. I think maybe by Friday or by Sunday, I will drop a whole video on the character Claudia. And I want us to understand Claudia, what Claudia was also going through. I want us to also see Claudia. I want us to see the whole storyline through Claudia's perspective. That's the next video that I'm really gonna be working on. I'll be taking each character and I want us to, help and then see ourselves in the character's shoe and begin to understand what all these characters were going through. So I want you guys to comment down in the comment section below, and then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. The subscribes really help the channel to grow. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, keep liking all my videos, and I hope to see you all in the comment section. Peace out.